Hi, and welcome to Read Me a Story. Today I have a book about spring, and it's one of my favorite read-alouds. It's called Muncha, Muncha, Muncha by Candace Fleming. And before we get started in our book, I have put some letters on my board today. And first of all, let's see if you can tell me what letters there are. First of all, we have how many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 letters. The first one, this one is G. The second letter, A. The third letter is R. The fourth letter, do you recognize it? The letter D. The fifth letter, E. And the last letter, the sixth letter, is N. And the word is garden. And that's what our story is all about today. Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. Actually, as I read along, you are welcome to help me with parts of the book, because the words Muncha, Muncha, Muncha are going to be repetitive throughout our book, meaning they're going to be repeated and said over and over again. So, we have some little bunnies to look for in our book today too. For years, Mr. McGreely dreamed of having a garden. He dreamed of getting his hands dirty, of growing yummy vegetables, and then gobbling them all up. But never once did he try it. Until this spring. This spring, said Mr. McGreely, I am going to plant my garden and have some yummy vegetables. And that's just what he did. He hoed and he sowed and he watched the garden grow. Lettuce, carrots, peas, and tomatoes. He couldn't wait to have any of these yummy, crisp, fresh veggies. And every day he was out looking at that garden. But guess what? The sun went down at the end of the day, and the moon rose high up into the sky. And 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, hungry little bunnies came along. Tippy, 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 pat. And Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. They started nibbling on the garden. Well, the next morning when Mr. McGreely looked at the gnawed sprouts, he was angry. He had worked very hard in that garden. So he built a small wire fence surrounding the vegetable garden. No bunnies will be able to get in here now, he thought. Guess what? The sun went down at the end of the day, and the moon rose high up in the sky. All of a sudden, tippy, 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 pat, spring hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Those 3 hungry bunnies, what did they do? They hopped right over the fence, and Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. They started eating from the garden again. Well, the next morning when Mr. McGreely looked at his garden, he was really angry. He saw the gnawed sprouts and the chewed leaves. Oh no, he thought. So he decided to build a tall wooden fence all around the small wire fence that surrounded his vegetable garden. He thought, this surely will keep those bunnies out. No fluffed ears are going to be in there this time. Well, guess what? The sun went down and the moon came up high into the sky, and those 3 hungry bunnies came along once again. Tippy, 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 pat. Dig, scratch, 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 scratch. Spring hurdle, dash, dash, dash. And Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. They got into the garden again and were eating the vegetables. Look at Mr. McGreely. He does not look happy at all. The next morning when he saw the gnawed sprouts and the chewed leaves and the gnawed stems, he was was not happy. He was really, really angry. He thought. So he decided to dig a wet trench all around the tall wooden wall, which was behind the small wire fence that surrounded his vegetable garden. No way will the bunnies get into the garden this time, he thought. Guess what? At the end of the day, the sun went down and the moon came up high into the sky. And all of a sudden, the 3 hungry bunnies came tippy, 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 pat, dive, paddle, splash, 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 as they went over the wet trench. Spring hurdle, dash, 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 and Muncha, 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 one more time into the garden. And they're eating the vegetables once again. Well, the next morning when Mr. McGreely went to check on his vegetables, he was beyond angry. He was furious. He couldn't believe what he saw. So he got out all his tools, and he hammered and he blocked. He sanded and he stopped. He drilled and he filled. And he tapped and he stopped. He built a huge, enormous thing right outside of the deep wet trench, behind the tall wooden wall, and in front of the small wire fence that surrounded his vegetable garden, all in an effort to keep away those cottontails. No way, no how, he said, will any bunnies get into my garden tonight. Well, guess what? Evening came, and the sun set in the sky, and the moon rose high above, and those 3, 1, 2, 3, hungry bunnies came along once again. Tippy, 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 pat. Stop! They stopped. They looked, and they touched the huge, enormous thing that was in front of them. And guess what? The bunnies hopped away. Well, the next morning, look at Mr. McGreely. I don't think he's angry anymore. Looks like he has a smile on his face. As he climbed up to look at his garden, he was thrilled to see no bunnies had gotten into his garden. He managed to climb over, jump across, squeeze between, and climb under all the fences and things he had built just to check on the garden. He even did a jiggly wiggly victory dance singing, "I beat the bunnies," because he was so happy. He couldn't wait to fill his basket with some yummy fresh vegetables to fill his tummy. As he filled the basket and was ready to reach in to have some yummy vegetables, all of a sudden, who pops up but the 3, 1, 2, 3 hungry bunnies, and Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. Those bunnies managed to outsmart Mr. McGreely. Although Mr. McGreely was very kind, and he did end up sharing his vegetables with the bunnies. It's a great read aloud. That's one of my favorite spring books, especially about the garden. He tried and tried, and he was very successful. Back to our board. I know we said the word is garden, which Mr. McGreely had planted. Can you tell me what the colors are on our letters? The letter G is the color blue. Next to G is A, and A is the color red. And our letter R, what color is the letter R? Green, my favorite color. And next is the letter D, and D is orange. Our next letter is E, and it's bright red. And our last letter N, it's the same as the letter D. It's orange once again. Awesome. While you're out in the garden, you may happen to come across some insects. You might notice some that are flying around and some that are creeping and crawling. So let's do our itsy bitsy spider, okay? Ready? The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. The itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again. Excellent, very good. Okay, my next little rhyme is about bumblebees. You know, sometimes you'll see them buzzing all around, especially when you've got some sweet, fragrant flowers in your garden. Okay, so we're gonna take our hand and put it out in front of us. Put our thumb and close our hand towards us and turn it over so that our knuckles right here is facing up to the sky, up to the ceiling. Ready? So here's a little beehive, but where are the bees? Could they be hiding where nobody sees? Ready? Slowly they come creeping out of the hive. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what are they going to do? Bzzz. They're going to buzz all around the garden. They actually help our gardens to grow. Excellent. Okay, hands out. We use both hands this time. Have them facing up to the sky, up to the ceiling once again. Open them, shut them. Open them, shut them. Give a little clap. Open them, shut them. Open them, shut them. Put them in your lap. Creep them up to your chin. Open your mouth wide. Close that mouth fast. Don't let those fingers in. Open them, shut them. Open them, shut them. Give a little clap. Open them, shut them. Open them, shut them. And put them in your lap. Awesome. Good job. Very good. I have another book I thought I'd share with you today, and it is about colors. So our first color is red. We have a red apple and a strawberry that is also red. Do you know what this is? Sometimes you have maybe for breakfast. And orange is the color orange. Blueberries are blue. You can recognize the banana. Banana is yellow. And so is the lemon. The lemon is too. Our next color, recognize it? Purple. The plum is purple. Raisins. Raisins are the color brown. Grapes. Grapes can be, these are green. Sometimes you'll see red, purple grapes too, but these are green. And the pear is green too. Next time, like I said, if you're at the farmer's market or at the grocery store or in your garden, you'll recognize some of those colors and you'll say, I know what color that is. I remember seeing it in a book or on our board today. Well, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.